Hey guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he's 33 years old, and he's going to share a story, guys, that hands down is one of the most ridiculous cases of a guy being obsessed with a gal that I've heard in a very, very long time. The term for it is called Oneitis, where one guy builds up in his mind that this girl is the one, and he builds up an obsession about her, convinces himself he's totally in love with her, and just lets his whole life go to hell in a handbasket because he's obsessed with her. And not to mention, creeps her out every step of the way because of his obsession with her. And this one, guys, like I said, this story is an example of what not to do. This is why every guy needs to have a masculine male role model in their life. It isn't their dad, it's their uncle. It isn't their uncle, it's their grandfather, older brother, cousin, somebody, even me. Because good Lord, what you're about to see. How guys really, unfortunately, get brainwashed by the narrative, the bullshit movies and TV, that you gotta become obsessed with this one girl and chase after her relentlessly and profess your love to her. And even when she turns you down, you keep coming back for more and thinking that one day you'll just wear her down and get her, like they show in the movies, and you'll live happily ever after. That whole thing is bullshit. And guys need to hear this. And how guys cannot let themselves do the things that this guy's going to do, because it is ridiculous. And he knows it too. But he's sharing this, so I appreciate him doing that. And at the end, I'm going to make sure he's well aware of the dumbass things that he's done and is doing, and he doesn't do it again. So this is truly a don't ever let this happen to you type of story. This is like the after school special, but here on the SSM channel whenever I'll publish this. And let me tell you, my hand is going to be sore for a month after all the smacks this guy gets today, and his face will look like Sloth from Goonies by the time I'm done with him. So, and you guys have my full permission to speak your mind all you want in the comment section. So it starts off, he says, hello SSM. I remember years ago seeing you as a sunglassless man sitting on his couch giving out life advice, and I've been watching you ever since. Well, thank you, bro. I appreciate you watching me from the beginning. Clearly, you got a lot to learn still. Do I have a story for you? Get ready for the greatest tale of one-itis you ever heard. Yeah, that's right up there. Long story short, I'm a 33-year-old male who spent 12 years pursuing the same woman. Smack. Dude, she better have been Helen of Troy in the looks department. A mythological beauty, and amongst many other things, because I don't know why the hell any guy would be obsessed with some chick trying to get her for 12 goddamn years. Between the ages of 13 and 25, I was in love with a childhood friend. I believe fate, destiny, and true love would ultimately bring us together. Smack. That's bullshit from fucking movies, dude. Of course, none of that ever happened, but it took me 12 years to learn that that's all BS and doesn't exist. Well, I'm glad you learned it now. I'm writing this to warn other guys against falling too hard for one woman so they don't have to learn the hard way like me. I could write an entire book about my experience, but I won't bore you with the ins and outs of 12 years of a person's life. So I'll give you the basic highlights enough to get the message across. Well, this is like 10 pages long, so believe me, you did give a lot of details, but there are things to learn from this, guys. Or you're going to get a hell of an entertaining story. Take your pick. I met this girl when I was 10 years old. We became friends and somehow always end up in each other's classes in school. We spent every day of 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and half of 8th grade together. It was in 7th grade when things got weird, as it often does for 13-year-old boys. Well, that's when it happened. Happened to me earlier. Happened to me when I was the 6th grade. There were whispers among her friends that she liked me, and this got me thinking about her in that way. I had plenty of crushes before her, but understandably, at that age, they were always one-sided and none of the girls liked me back. Probably because you were crushing on them so hard, you creeped the bejesus out of them. The prospect that a girl actually liked me back then was too much for my young mind to handle. Not too long after, I declared to myself that I loved her. I thought it must be fate since we were always put in the same classes and got along so well together. Dude, how many kids are in your school? It's obvious you're going to wind up in the same classes together. I don't think the universe put her in your classes because you're destined to be together. I was filled with new feelings of love I'd never felt before, partly based on what I had seen in the movies and TV about love conquering all. Smack! That smacks more towards Hollywood. It's all bullshit. I know you know this. It's to sell a story, to sell a dream. primarily for women, I might add. That fall, we went to middle school Christmas dance together. Looking back, the dance was awkward as hell. But I felt so loved and grown up since I had the love of my life around my arms and my neck and my arms around her waist as we slowly danced in a circle in the school gym. Well, I remember those junior high dances. I get when you're young and you don't know anybody, you get crushes and everything. I do. But the thing is, this guy takes the junior high mentality, and we were all there, to adult life. We were all set to date each other, whatever that meant, but my parents found out and said I was way too young and clearly too immature. They said that I would get in trouble if I got any closer to her, so I told her we couldn't date. Oh great, now it's forbidden love like the movies. I guess that hurt her, and she never had any romantic interest in me after that. That's when I went on my grand mission to win her back. When I was 13, I swore that I would love her for the rest of my life. As destiny had brought us and kept us together all this time, I believe that with time and hard work, she'd come around and see what a great guy I was and fall for me all over again. I was a full love nutcase. Okay, now, at least this mentality is when he's 13, as opposed to like 30 years old. There are dudes that buy into the shit 30 years old or older. At least he was 13, but you see the foundation of what is going to happen for 12 freaking years. God almighty. Things became really awkward between us as I pushed for a relationship any chance I got. That's what happens when guys are chasing after the gals pushing for a relationship. It's the gals that should be pushing the guys for the relationship. But again, the movies teach guys to chase and chase and chase and pester her and profess your love and do grand gestures and all this stupid ass shit, and then she'll fall for you and you'll live happily ever after. You do that, you get a fucking restraining order. We remained friends for the rest of the school year and started 8th grade in completely separate classes. Oh no. At this time, I spent every moment I had thinking about her and scheming ways to make her love me. There was nothing special or glamorous about her. She was just an ordinary gal who ignited the fever of first love in me. Because she was the first girl that kind of liked you, that's why. I built up this ideal image in my head, projecting what I wanted her to be while not seeing her for who she really was. I became completely obsessed with her and the idea of recapturing the heart of my first love. The only thing carried me through the first half of the 8th grade were the 5 minutes we would meet and talk to each other after school. Every time she showed up to talk to me, it gave me the hope that my plan was working and I had another chance with her. Were there not other girls, my friend? Did you not have bros to hang out with? Activities, things you enjoyed? Now again, you were young, you were 13, 14 years old. I'm giving you a pass at this stage a little bit. I'm still going to give you shit. But this is the crap that happens to guys in varying degrees. But when he gets older, that's the real problem I have. Halfway through the 8th grade, she moved to another school district, and I couldn't see or communicate with her anymore. Well, maybe this is the universe giving you the sign that she's not the one. So find another chick to be obsessed with. These were the days of dial-up internet before cell phones and text messages, and so after she moved, I couldn't see or talk to her anymore. Maybe she told her parents, "Get me the hell out of here from this nut job." I felt like the sun had died and my life was over. Smack. Okay, drama queen. I know it sounds ridiculous, really, but when you're that young and full of what you think is love, being separated from your love and interest really destroys you inside. I crushed on some girls when I was young too, man. I get some of the bullshit that goes on in your head, but believe me, I stopped eventually. I didn't go anywhere close to what you're doing. In those first months without her, my personality started to change. I felt abandoned by someone I obsessed, worshipped, and without her, I shut down. I stopped talking to people even when they would try to talk to me, since I was too afraid to get close to anyone out of fear they would leave me too. Dude, you needed help. You always have depression problems and all sorts of shit going on, but you were also a kid. But I wish your parents would have recognized some of these recognized depression signs and all that, isolating yourself, not hanging out with people, and they could have gotten you help. Every day I felt like my heart had been ripped out, and I had a constant relentlessness and panic running through me. Again, when you're that young, pain and trauma can have a profound effect on shaping your future personality. That's true. That's why it would have been good if your parents noticed these things and got you some help. I have to wonder if you come from a big family, so there were lots of siblings for the mom and dad to distract them from you. But you needed help, dude. You really did. major depression problems, obsessive problems, stuff like that. In order to prove that my love for her was real, I refused to move on from her. I specifically shunned the idea of having any relationship with any other girls in my school because I had already found the one for me. And if I endured the pain, the universe would reward my suffering by having the girl I love come around back to me one day. Smack! Again, more movies and bullshit. I was no ladies' man anyway. Really? I didn't catch on to that at all. But I had several girls make an effort to talk to me and try to get me to open up. I always stare straight ahead into space, making sure never to move a muscle and never respond to them. So you're becoming a fucking weirdo. I wanted to remain faithful to my true love, even if she was somewhere else not giving me a second thought. I learned it was interesting how girls would go out of their way to get my attention the more I ignored them. Even you are getting girls to pay attention to you because you're not giving them attention. Nevertheless, I had no friends as I went through school, ignoring everyone and keeping everything to myself. Dude, you need help. And I have to wonder if there's other things going on in here that are impacting. Social skills, social issues. It has to be brought up. Not surprising, living like this started to make me depressed. Dude, you were depressed before. I continued this behavior into high school and began to feel more isolated while loneliness burned me like a fire. I wanted someone in my life, but I was too afraid to open up out of fear of losing them. Well, that's what happens to a lot of people. They get hurt, and there's fear of being rejected, fear of being abandoned, so they push everybody away, and you can't do that. Nothing in this world is permanent, guys, but you can't go around locking yourself up in a fucking room being miserable all the time, you know? Everything in your life is going to disappear one way or another. Everything and everyone. But it doesn't mean you just throw up your hands in the air at 15 years old, and that's the end of it. You enjoy the time you have with them and all that. I wish, in spite of me making jokes at your expense, I wish you had someone to explain that, help you. You need help, dude. The pain and isolation only increased in time and led to further down into depression. I kept all this inside of me, and I built a fire over time. I started to gravitate to media and music that expressed the angst of unrequited love. Oh great, more shit to reinforce your own crazy views. I felt like a life without her wasn't worth living. That's bullshit. You got plenty to live for, man. I was falling further down into this prison of my own making and began to entertain thoughts of ending myself. No. Ending yourself was never the option. You see, looking back, how you needed help, professional help? I spent my time imagining a life with her and felt worthless and alone without her. I began self-harming and lost any hope of a normal life again. Good Lord, dude. By the time we were both 15 years old, we arranged to meet again. I visited her house where she read a letter I had written confessing my struggle with depression and ending with a life without her and just how much I loved her and needed her. Oh God, she's 15. How do you expect a 15-year-old girl to react to that? All I could get out of her was something like, "You're in love with a memory of me, not the real me." Besides, teenagers can't fall real love anyway. It's just hormones. She asked me to stay away from her and that she cannot help me with my pity party. That was the last time I would hear from her for the next 4 years. Did she invite you to her house? You just show up randomly. So, bro, it's not like she was your girlfriend. She was just some girl kind of liked you and you danced at the dance with and all that. But, I mean, I know young kids build things up in their mind, but Jesus. Needed help. I can't stress that enough. At that point, a smart guy would have realized his mistake, taken his advice from his love interest, and would have moved on with his life. I'm not a smart guy. Yeah, I'm kind of figuring that. I only saw this as another opportunity to win her back. Smack. I could have smacked you 10 times by now, but I want to keep... this could be the record smacks in the video, but my hand's already getting fucking tired. I realized I had pushed her too far, you think? And that gave me enough time given enough time she'd forget the specifics of this experience. And we could have a fresh start. She's not going to forget. I only need to bide my time, let her move on, then find another way to re-enter her life at a later date. How about find some other girls? How about get out of the house? How about hang out, make some friends? How about do anything but obsess over her? For the rest of my high school years, I became even more obsessed with her. I always believed that if I doubled down with my love for her in every way, my suffering would one day pay off. I spent my days thinking about her, cry myself to sleep over her, and often dream about her. Having hope and faith in a future life with her was only enough to barely keep me going. I can only begin to imagine the comments that you guys are going to make on this video. Oh God. Throughout high school, The depression and never-ending loneliness remained to eat away at me day to day. At times, I experimented with letting selected people into my life. And I developed a few friendships with other girls. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I could never see them as anything more than friends. Smack! God's sakes. But it was nice to have someone plug the hole of loneliness left by the one I loved. You had the hole of loneliness. That was your actions. These friendships never lasted more than a few months because since I was too hyper-aware and paranoid of being abandoned again, you weren't abandoned. Your parents told you you can't date her. I would sabotage the relationships and push the other person away, to the point where they couldn't stand me anymore. When I was 16, I felt another one of these friendships start to fall apart. I got panic attacks and self-harm so much out of fear of reliving an instant of abandonment. I ended up in an adolescent psych ward. While in the hospital, I could only think about the girl I loved and how my commitment to loving her drove me there. My obsession with her literally drove me insane. Now, it's this point that many keep saying, is this real SSM? Is this a creative story by a guy, creative writing? You never know. But it sure as hell is entertaining. Things can be learned from this. Yes, bro. Psych ward. Yes, you had problems, as I predicted from the beginning of this story. I'm glad you got there. You didn't end yourself, if this is real. But come on, dude. I would later learn that some of those friends developed crushes on me. Are you sure about that? Or was that also in your imagination? But at that point, I couldn't imagine someone wanting someone as worthless as me. So I never could pick up on their feelings. After I pushed them away, they would come and go whenever they needed a shoulder to cry on, and then leave me again after I solved their problems for them. I tried to be a kind, understanding, and supportive friend because I wanted someone like that in my life too. I was naturally so desperate for any female attention, I let them use me as an emotional punching bag, only for them to leave me again and get boyfriends who've been juvenile prison or drove motorcycles. It sounds cliche, but I promise you I saw this behavior play out before my eyes. Well, that's what they do. When you're the nice guy friend, they come to you with all their problems, and then they go back to the bad boy and treats them like crap. We all know that. Fast forward to me being 19 and in college. Now you're a freaking grown-ass man. You're an illegal adult, been to the psych ward, almost off yourself because of this girl. This is the point that you're certainly accountable for your actions. I continued to keep myself isolated. No friends. I was going through the motions to get through this day. I didn't even know I was in college. I was only there because my parents told me I had to go. And going to school was the only thing I knew how to do anyway. Without her in my life, I really didn't care about my future. And because of my depression and offing myself tendencies in high school, I never expected to live as long as I did. I went on to ignore and shun the women in college classes who tried to get to know me, mostly because I didn't know how to do anything differently at this point. After years of isolation, living that way came naturally to me. Well, yeah, you got used to being isolated, but you also didn't develop the social skills needed to function in the world. So even if you wanted to like make friends or date other gals or whatever, you spent so much time alone, you basically became kind of a social weirdo. And that's what happens. That's why I get guys not liking people. I'm an introvert. I think most people are assholes, and I prefer my time alone. But I can go anywhere on the planet as long as they speak English or bad English, and I can talk to anybody. I can chat anybody up any time of the day because I got good social skills because I've developed them. But I prefer to be alone. But when you isolate yourself and you don't talk to anybody, you get to the point that you just can't really relate to society. As my second year of college started, I couldn't stand being apart from my love any longer. Smack! She's not your love. She wasn't your love. Don't fucking fool yourself. I've had her contact info online. Translation, you were stalking her. I decided after 4 years, maybe enough time had passed to make another attempt at making her love me. Yeah, let's see how that works out. I believe that I presented my best self to her, a guy who had his life together and was successful. She'd come around to love me. Oh, like the movies. She was surprised and happy to hear from me. Are you sure about that? Can't blame me for asking. She said she missed me and would be glad to start talking to each other again. If that's the case, it's probably as a platonic friendship way, not a romantic way. We went to colleges in different states, but we continued regularly emailing and texting each other, little by little. I hinted at relationship topics as I tried to steer her mind to thinking about me that way. In other words, you're manipulating and chasing her again. I thought I was being super clever and trying to manufacture her feelings towards me. I would send her random gifts and good morning texts to prove I thought that I was thoughtful, empathetic guy. Yeah, the old good morning text and the bombarding her with text. Is she reaching out to you? Is she sending you text? Is she doing it in a way that she's showing actual genuine interest from a girl? Because when a guy is doing the overwhelming amount of texting and emails and phone calls and pursuing, believe me, she's not interested. Unless she's doing the vast majority of it, guess what? She sees you as a friend, nothing more. I was still convinced I loved her and hoped my patience would be rewarded with her love. Again, what the hell does this girl look like? More years go by. You're wasting all these years on this chick, dude. You got issues. You need help, man. I tried, and I got tired of maintaining this fake version of myself. I was scared that she saw the mess that I really was, and she would leave me again. At the same time, I wanted to show her 10 years worth of pent-up love I thought I had for her. I'd sacrificed everything else I could have had in relationships with other women that normal people had experienced because I was waiting for her. At this point, you're a grown man. You're an adult. All this time wasted. I never held hands, kissed, or even had you-know-what with anyone, nor had I experienced any emotional or mental intimacy with anyone. Fortunately and unfortunately, something also entered my mind around this time that helped me tell things that I had kept secret. Alcohol. I started drinking and found that it helped me both cope with my problems and say things to her more easily. Yeah, well, getting into drugs and alcohol is never the answer. As I got tired of showing her a fake person, I would just drink to tell her the things that I was too scared to say while sober. She understandably began to be put off by me acting like a nice guy in the daytime and drunk texting her nonsense at night. When I drank, I found that my feelings for her became stronger, and 10 or 11 years worth of bad memories and experiences flooded back to me all at once. At the height of my drinking, I was drinking 750 milliliters bottle a day, getting passed out drunk 5 or 6 days a week from vodka or rum, 50% abbreviated. I was irresponsible with money and spent every dime I made or could steal from others or buying and hiding away stashes of bottles. Every day, the first couple of glasses helped me forget her, and then the more I drank, the more my thoughts turned towards her, and I would start texting her. Yeah, now he's a legal adult. He can drink, and he's getting alcohol. Look what happened there. I clearly have obsessive personality, and if it's not in one area, I'll go into someplace else. I ended up breaking down and once again confessing all my love to her in a long email I wrote while sober. And how'd that work out? She replied that she suspected my feelings were still there, but hers never were. She considered me a good friend, but I was only a friend. She claimed to have remained single this whole time too because she wasn't interested in a relationship with anybody, but there's no way I can know the truth of that. All my effort, my self-imposed commitment to her, I had kept going since I was 13, had been for nothing. We continued talking for another year until I began to think that at 25 years old, maybe, just maybe, I should move on from her. Yeah, that might be a good idea, my man. I'd given our relationship 2 or 3 chances over 12 years. There was no relationship. The majority of both of our lives at that point, but it wasn't working. Even I knew that when something repeatedly doesn't work, it's either time to find a new strategy or just give up. Give up. Work on yourself. Lots of help you need, my man. You can do things for yourself, but you need help. She was now going to graduate school, and I was a drunken mess. Well, you brought that on yourself. As I tell every guy in these stories that bring things on themselves. I realized that she deserves better than someone who acted like that, and maybe I could build a new life that wasn't based on her. Yes, you can. I did not make it a grand announcement, but from now on, I wasn't going to contact her anymore. I didn't tell her, but for both our sakes, we need to permanently separate. I simply stopped messaging her at first, stopped sending her random gifts, and stopped having a presence in her life. Interestingly, after I stopped everything, she never made any effort to contact me. Well, there you go. That says everything. Remember, you paid attention to people's actions, not their words. Clearly, you were the one that were doing all the reaching out to her, and she was probably just like, okay, hi, how was your day? And you said you were sending her gifts and all this stuff. No, this is all the bullshit you see in the movies and TV. It turned out that I was the only one trying to keep the relationship going, and after I stopped everything, she never took the initiative. That was 8 years ago now, and I've never planned to have anything to do with her ever again. Good. It is amazing that she didn't file a restraining order at some point, feeling uncomfortable. But I'm glad finally that was it. Now the question everybody's thinking is, okay, fine. Who do you become obsessed with next? So here I am now at age 33, 20 years after this mess started. I still have never had my first kiss, still am a virgin, and never had been on a date, and never been in a relationship. I never ever seen a nude woman in real life, but on the internet. Well, that's a different story. I don't want to hear that story. I'm fine with all that, never changing. 8 years ago, I mentally and emotionally left her behind and have been struggling to find a new purpose since then. You can find a purpose, my man. For a few years, I lived in my parents' basement and worked dead-end and part-time jobs while I struggled to find meaning for my life. Now I'm working on getting my PhD with a promising future career prospects. Good for you. Look what happens when you take all that energy you had that you put into obsessing over her and scheming to get her back, and you put it into something constructive. So good for you. I know I've been giving you shit through this whole video, but I hope you can see with a smile on my face it's not mean-spirited, but good. I'm glad you did this. And I haven't had a drop of alcohol in years. Awesome. I haven't worked off all the weight I gained from getting drunk every day, as I'm more a stay indoors and play video games type of guy rather than go out and exercise. I got that feeling. I don't know where to begin with exercising, so I usually end up trying a few different workouts until I give up after a few sessions. I'll give you some tips at the end of the video. In terms of relationships, oh Lord. Along with leaving her behind, 8 years ago I swore off ever having a relationship with any woman again. This may seem like an extreme measure to take, but considering how I wasted 12 years hooked on one woman, I don't want to take the chance of happening again. During the past 8 years, I've had the opportunity to get in relationships with women who pursued me, but I always turned them down thinking I'm not getting into that shit again. Are you sure they were pursuing you or just being friendly? I have to ask. I have to address that. I may never fully get over my experience of what I thought was love, but after watching almost every video you made, and given the current state of women in general, I don't think I'm missing on anything. Bro, you really aren't missing on everything. There are good women out there, I'm not going to deny that. I know guys lose their shit whenever I say that. There are good ones out there. It's just that they're much more difficult to spot. At least I'll never have to worry about a divorce or having a woman try to manipulate me. After all, you can't manipulate a manipulator. Well, you saying that's a little disturbing, but at least you're honest. Throughout this experience, I've learned several lessons. Good. I'm glad you learned some things. 1, you cannot make someone love you. True. It's something that has to develop naturally between two people. Trying to be someone you're not will ultimately fail since you want the other person to love the real you and not the fake one. 2, female nature is too difficult to understand. Well, honestly, female nature is not that difficult to understand. That's what a lot of guys don't. You watch this channel long enough, you can understand it pretty freaking well. I mentioned that the female friends I had were happy to turn to me so I could listen to their problems, only for them to run back to the guys who treat them badly. It's not hard to understand. Even the woman I supposedly loved only talked to me when she had problems in college. She claimed that she missed me, then and had no problem ignoring me for another month after I helped her. 3, you have to make yourself a priority. I say that every day. No one cares about you more than you yourself. If you base your life on trying to win the approval of someone else, you'll be disappointed. Exactly. Remember, nobody asked you to live for them, and no one is under any obligation to love you back. I harbor no resentment or ill will towards the woman I thought I loved since she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong, and I'm glad there's no ill will or resentment because she didn't do anything wrong, dude. It was my fault for being stubborn and refusing to move on like I should have. I had to learn these lessons the hard way after 12 years of failure. I hope others can read my story to benefit from the lessons I learned and not repeat my mistakes. I'm not quite yet a strong, successful male. Yeah, you need some work, my friend. Obviously, I'm a slow learner, but I am gradually improving all aspects of my life. So that, my friends, is the end of this story. If you stuck along for this, high five. So, bro, Lord God Almighty, I don't even know where to begin. Yes, she did all the things, the bullshit they show you in the movies and TV, and he took it as real life. And people have varying reactions to those type of things. They'll watch those movies and TV and try those things and learn it doesn't work, and then they learn. Others take it to a full-blown, oh, this is how reality is. You learn the hard way. The movies and TV are bullshit, and it's damaging what guys learn. I'm sorry your parents didn't recognize early on you had definitely some issues with depression, major issues with depression and obsession and all sorts of things like that, and you didn't get the help you needed early on, you know. And maybe you had a whole bunch of brothers and sisters, and they were focused on the brothers and sisters. It's hard to pay attention all at once, or they were really self-absorbed, or you were very good at hiding it. I don't know. But as you got older and became a grown-ass man, look at all the things you did. But look at all the time that was wasted on this one chick. But the whole she's the one thing, and all the things you got to do to win her love and profess your love. And guys, that's all bullshit. So let's use this guy's story as a lesson. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy who becomes obsessed with one chick and does all these things, and the relentless pursuit and chasing and pestering the shit out of her, because all you're going to get is a fucking restraining order. You don't need that, okay? And any woman will tell you that too, okay? When women like guys, they chase after them. You don't have to do shit, and many of you guys are aware of this. They're successful. But bro, what I want you to do now, and I'm glad you recognize the mistakes you made, and now you're pursuing a PhD. I don't know what you're doing the PhD for, but good for you. That's awesome. Take all the obsessive ways about you and put it into something constructive like the PhD. That's great. I'm glad you stopped alcohol. You should not be drinking at all. Obviously, you're an alcoholic. You said you don't know how to work out. Join a gym. If your money's tight, join a Planet Fitness or some discount gym that costs you 10 to 15 bucks a month. Hire a trainer. Tell them you don't know where to start, and it'll be worth the money. Even if you had a few workouts where he can explain to you, give you a workout program, show you how to use the equipment, and go there and lift weights a couple days a week. Get on the treadmill, get on the bike, exercise. You'll feel better. And the more you feel better, the more you'll be in a resortful state. I want you to start eating better, healthy food. Not, avoid the fast food, the processed food. Sugar, alcohol. Well, you're not drinking, so that's good. You get the point. Start eating good, healthy, good stuff. You're a smart guy. Obviously, if you can pursue PhD in something, you're obviously not a dumbass. So you can learn how to cook things, healthy foods on YouTube, and you eat healthy, you exercise. I guarantee you, 6 months, you'll start seeing a definite change in your body. And then aside from that, and if you want to get involved with women the rest of your life, that's your business. I don't blame you. I don't blame you because of what is out there nowadays. But if you're doing it because just you're out of fear of getting rejected or fear of you'll become obsessive again, well, that's a dumb reason to do it. You need to work on yourself so you don't fall in these traps again. But if you can recognize where you're going wrong that triggered the obsession thing, there you go. And I would highly recommend, it may sound like you definitely could use benefit, that's the better benefit, for regular therapy if there's other issues lingering there. But it sounds like you've improved greatly. You realize we went wrong, and we all fuck up, guys. Well, this guy takes us to a whole new level, so it goes to show you, Again, I don't know if this is real or not. This could be a creative writing story. This guy could be having fun with me. I don't know. But nevertheless, there are a lot of things that could happen that are true, but we can all learn from this. Either you're watching this for entertainment, and I know plenty of you guys are laughing, or to learn from it. There's a lot of things you can get out of this. So, brother, I wish you well, and I hope that you keep on keeping on, as Joe Dirt would say. You're going to be all right. But just don't, if you start seeing yourself fall into the trap of what you once did, get help. Okay? Any other you guys out there watching this right now that can see problems in yourself that he had earlier when he was younger, like the obsession and thinking about ending it all, get help. Please. There's somebody will care about you to help you out. That's all I can say. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. What you think about this? Yeah, comment ahead. I can't begin to imagine the comment section here, but remember, in the end, this guy's gotten his shit together. He's improving, so let's not be too hard on him. But I can't blame you at all if you want to give him a little shit in the comment section. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.